Political analysts have warned that if President Cyril Ramaphosa doesn't take the country into his confidence over the Phala Phala farm robbery, it may well taint his legacy. The matter was once again high on the agenda when the ANC NEC met over the weekend, with some members calling for him to step aside. Now, as the party heads to the National Elective Conference next month, it's important to understand how this saga could affect Ramaphosa's attempt at a second term. This morning we're joined by Advocate Mahlodi Muofhe, who was with the Domestic Intelligence Branch of the State Security Agency. Advocate Muofhe, it's great to have your take on this issue. And perhaps we should start exactly there. You know, what has been your analysis of how the President has handled the Phala Phala farm robbery and the scandal that has erupted since Arthur Fraser came forward with these allegations? How do you think he handled it?
Good morning, Michelle, and your viewers. I think essentially we should appreciate the fact that we are all equal before the law, and we all subscribe to the prescripts of our Constitution. When this matter arose, the President took the confidence in the country's confidence, and decided.
Advocate Muofhe, thanks for staying with us, and apologies once again for the technical gremlins we seem to have in the system this morning. But before our chat was interrupted, you were telling us about how you read the President's handling of the Phala Phala farm saga since it first emerged. Please continue.
Yes, I was explaining that the President addressed us publicly and confirmed that the burglary took place this farm, Phala Phala. He also said that he would cooperate with all the law enforcement agencies tasked to investigate the matter because the case was opened at the Rosebank. All I will say is that we are all equal before our Constitution, and the rule of law must guide us all the time. The judiciary is very important for us, and once we get to a stage where at some point we decide to forego some of the principles, and all the principles, in fact, which guide us, then we've got it all wrong. When anybody goes to a police station to open a case, that person has got no right to actually publicly mention the name of the person. It's against the law, because the person is a suspect, and up until such time that that person appears before a court of law, and in this case, until such time the NPA makes a pronouncement, I think it is premature for everybody to start mentioning the name of that person, because by so doing, we are basically in contravention of the right to privacy by naming the person even before he appears in court. All the principles of law, we cannot throw them away out of the window because the person involved is the President. The President or anybody else is also entitled to all the rights enshrined in our Bill of Rights, in our Constitution.
Yeah, you've also written at length about this issue of the public interest, because I think many civil society organizations, there have been calls from various quarters that, as I said in my intro, the President takes us into his confidence. You've talked about the fact that there is nothing in the Constitution that states that the public interest principle is above our Constitution or above our rule of law, right? But in a country like ours, where ethical leadership is scarce, some might say, isn't it ever more important that the President do just that?
All I'm arguing is, Michelle, the President, like you and I, is entitled to the protection of by the Constitution and the rule of law. the rule of law in our constitution, there's nowhere where it says in the constitution that the president ought to be treated differently. Because we run the risk of creating precedents which we'll never be able to adhere to going forward. Reality is that upfront the president addressed the nation and informed the nation that indeed that burglary happened at his house. And he also said, because the matter has been, or a case has been opened at the Rosebank police station, he would cooperate with those who are tasked by law to investigate this matter. And up to so far, my understanding is that he is cooperating with those who are tasked by law to investigate this matter. He has even gone beyond cooperating with any other institution which has some interest, and he has appeared before those institutions. But up until such time that a matter is brought before our court of law and by the NPA, any other pronouncement, in all fairness, is a violation of the president's rights. My issue is that we cannot behave as if we are in animal farm where we are all equal, but there are some animals which are more equal than others, because we may not be able to adhere to that principle of lawlessness.
Yeah, I mean, we know the principle you're referring to, Advocate Muofhe, that everyone is equal before the law. But, you know, in the most unequal country in the world, perhaps the reality is a bit different. But I'm running out of time, so I want to ask you my last question, Advocate. It's the elective conference of the ANC, perhaps one of the most important political moments for 2022 for the governing party. I wonder whether delegates at that conference will buy into the argument you've made this morning.
Well, for me, to be honest, it's either whether they buy or they don't. All I'm saying is that the rule of law is sacrosanct to all South Africans, and I don't think we should allow ourselves to be guided by any other view except that, because if we are going to be guided by different views, in all fairness, we are throwing our constitution and the rule of law out of the window, and I don't think that's what South Africans want. What happens in December is an ANC matter, and delegates at the conference have the right, whichever way they want to elect, that's a prerogative right. But as South Africans, we must at all times adhere to the rule of law.
Advocate Mahlodi Muofhe, let me thank you for your time this morning. He was with the Domestic Intelligence branch of the State Security Agency, giving us his analysis of the President's handling of the Phala Phala farm robbery and, of course, how that might play into the elective conference that's taking place in December of this year.